All right, welcome back to Finding Truth on the Unscripted Truth TV channel here on YouTube. Thank you for joining us for Big 49 for us. We're one away from the mid centennial, and yeah, lots to get into. We have the beginning of the NASCAR playoffs, I guess next week, or I believe so. So basically, the end of the playoff race or the race to the playoffs yesterday, Saturday, and so we'll cover the winner and where our predictions landed and what we see going forward, and we'll have a better idea with the playoff picture finally being posted, with the standings and everything like that. And then we want to discuss, big news on the East Coast of I think the first major hurricane of hurricane season this year, right? Hurricane Erin, or the first named hurricane. It's such a weird system how they do that. I think we've covered this earlier when we were covering different hurricanes. We brought up their naming system and how arbitrary it seems. But anyway, we'll talk about Hurricane Erin, and which, by the way, is like, isn't it still going right now? Isn't there's like, am I tripping, or is it even like completed? I might be wrong, but very recently, if so, it was still tearing up the coast. And then, for those of you who don't know, our teacher friend, uh, fellow YouTuber, Zach, who we learned gematria from, and we've highlighted him several times. Obviously, that's I guess I can put his channel up, but he's going through a bit of a ordeal because he got his accounts hacked, his bank and credit cards and things of that nature. So just want to, I mean, even in just the opening, extend, you know, uh, let him know that, I'm hoping everything works out. We're hoping everything works out and he's able to reestablish his funds and all the things of that nature. I don't think we've gotten an update on that yet so far, but this happened just a couple days ago. And so yeah, we kind of want to espouse upon that, personal experiences. On top of that, just the age that we live in, and talking about scamming and hacking as a concept, and what it says about the scammers, the hackers, what it says about the victims, things of that nature, what it says about society as a whole. I think we'll get into. But yeah, without further ado, without me blabbing for another 20 minutes, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, episode 49 tonight. This should be a good one. Going over the race and Hurricane Erin and the Zach hack stuff,
Mhm.
and I got a lot to say about on that myself. It's just kind of been one of those weeks where there's a lot of I don't know. I'd say a lot of interesting, good and bad. Um, this week is kind of a mixture. It's kind of there's always that mockery they always got to throw in there and stuff, and it's just kind of been one of those weeks where it's kind of been rolling with what's been kind of given. It's been up and down, but there's been some good. Just like some of my job stuff's kind of clearing and coming through, so I'm hoping the rest of it's kind of done this upcoming week, and that all kind of gets cleared up and moving along and kind of behind me at that point. Yeah, it was kind of funny. Yeah, because I always talk with my friend. My friend's name is actually Erin, and the funny thing is I didn't hang out with her this weekend, but she called me Monday. I'm gonna hang out with her next weekend, but she called me Monday, and she like told me about her mom having like that her mom got cancer or whatever, because her mom's down there in like Texas or whatever. But um, she should be good, hopefully. I mean, it's not like a bad cancer or anything, and they caught it early, and it's easy to like survive. So if you're gonna get cancer, it's kind of really what you want if you're gonna get it. So hopefully that all goes well. But that was kind of like the first real kind of downer this week, I guess, and it was either that night, it was Monday night or Tuesday morning. I know Zach did the Hurricane Erin video too. Um, I was kind of been behind everything this week. There's been so much going on. I've been on the phone making calls and dealing with other stuff, but yeah, then Hurricane Erin, I just heard about that. It was like Monday night or Tuesday morning. So I just kind of thought that was kind of a sick joke or sick mockery there with all that lining up. Um, yeah, I thought that was something. And then of course the Zach, I know Zach said he got hacked like Friday or whatever too. Um, yeah, I had a very similar situation we'll talk about tonight. I had something happen to me a couple of years ago, but uh, a lot of other things as well. It doesn't have to just be a hack; it can be a lot of other things. And uh, his story and situations are very similar to what I went through as well, and I know what it's like, and it's definitely not anything you want to have happen, and you definitely don't want it to happen again. I know he said he's had to deal with this type of thing a few times, so hopefully he doesn't have to deal with this ever again. But yeah, definitely something to talk about tonight. Yeah, other than that, it's been, just like I said, it's been one of those weeks where there's been good news, bad news, kind of up and down, just kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But um, yeah, just and then I know we talked quite a bit about the Daytona race last week, because it was the final race of the regular season and moving on to the playoffs. So we kind of knew this week was going to be kind of funky in a lot of ways. It really wasn't what I was expecting, but kind of this week kind of had a little bit of everything. It's probably the last heat wave too we got right now. It's like 90s. So we've had 92, 95 degrees kind of today and yesterday. I know it's like 100 down where you're at. So probably our last heat wave probably for the year, I'm thinking, but you never know. They can change things, but yeah, we did say that we thought that Ford um, would do well and probably have a shot to win, and kind of was the favorite make going into the race. And it was a Ford, it was Blaney, and he was the first Ford to win multiple times this year. So that was pretty big and possibly a huge boost and possible huge clue going into the playoffs, maybe where we're going to be by November. He might be the champion. Right now, he's got the momentum, and he's got the narrative. It seems.
I mean, just before we get into the specifics of this, I kind of want to bring it around to like other sports. How often does this kind of narrative end up, playing out where you'll have this, you'll have a team do, the teams that do well all season long or like have a good, or, are considered like the better teams at the end. You'll have them fade when it comes into crunch time. And uh, for me, it just looks like you said, that it is painting itself as quite a clue for him to win the last race of the before the playoffs. Of course, he was already in the playoffs, but um, what that did end up doing was cement the two non-winners in Bowman and Reddick, I believe, uh, in the top 16, and pushed out any others that were close. But like you said, we mentioned Ford's winning. I think we had our eyes on, there was a real dark horse shot we thought potentially for Gibbs, and he did top 10. So last two races he had pretty good races. But as far as like punching the numbers, we personally didn't see any like super compelling narratives. So that's kind of why we stuck to the makers. So Ford, and we were kind of stuck on thinking that this week they would go similar to last week and have 2 weeks where someone who hadn't won a race would win to kind of like shake up and add drama. They didn't go with that necessarily, but funnily enough, I was talking to you and before, And, I don't watch the races or anything like that, but I did notice a big shakeup in the top 5 within the last like few laps of the race. And you told me you watched the highlights or whatever, and that Blaney kind of retook the lead very, very late in the race, last few laps or so. And if you just look at this top 5, you would have had a new winner um, if anyone else won in the top 5. So I was telling Austin, I was like, imagine if we were watching the race and we have our call. Of course, it's not a pinpoint call, but our narrative is about to come through, and just like within the last 2 laps, it falls. And but what be even more interesting is if we didn't also mention last week, as Blaney, at least me personally, I think we talked heavily about the Ford Pete concept and Ford being the eventual victor. And it all kind of adds up with them, all driving the dark horse Mustangs. And I've highlighted multiple times, the dark horse is the guy, that comes out of nowhere, similar to what Blaney did in this race, but also what we're kind of eyeing for the finish of the championship, or the playoffs as well. But yeah, I just think that would be as crazy as it was to see our main narrative kind of fold. It is interesting that the only other driver that we really talked about, as far as, because we talked about not only who would win that race, but we gave our semi predictions on playoffs and onward, and mine has been Blaney for a little bit now. I've just seen him, and this is obviously he'd been sitting on one win for quite some time now, and I base all of what I'm basing all it on articles I've seen a lot of the time. So, and we're not out there rarely picking Blaney. Blaney, he's won that one race. We didn't call the race that he won prior to this one, and we didn't call this one, but he hasn't really been there as far as narratives either, on like for any races. We run his numbers, and if something interesting's happening in his side of things. But man, he is, like I've said this multiple times. It's like Larson, Blaney. And I think you could say Byron and Bell kind of like tie for third in mentions throughout the week. For, I guess, for a while, Denny Hamlin as well, because of the whole NASCAR lawsuit as well. But I'm saying, it just as far as pure like media coverage throughout the week, I see their names all the time. And Blaney's like, all of Blaney's article talk about how, not that he's underperforming, but just that he's like, he should be winning more championships type of deal. So it's we'll see what all that means going forward. But like I said, like I said last week, he's my dark horse for more in more ways than one. So although our predictions didn't come through, and we weren't able to really catch this narrative and its with whatever it was, I'm sure we can apply some hindsight and try to figure out what this was all about. And and the other thing we might not be realizing too is this might be, like you said, with it being a clue for future races, it might not be evident right this minute what the ritual was for this race. I know that, obviously Daytona being such a, prevalent track in NASCAR, I'm sure that, whenever races are ran at Daytona, I'm sure that there's things put in place ahead of time to really mark the ritual. So I'm not saying that there was nothing to be garner, nothing to garner before the race took place, but very well could be that this race is more of a narrative driver for a future race, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting too, how this race. I mean, I know the qualifying, Blaney was actually on pole, and it was weird because he was kind of at the front there to start the race, like the first like 10, 15, 20 laps, the beginning of the race. Then he was in the back of the field the whole race. And he literally just took the lead with like half a lap to go to win it. He was like outside the top 10 with like 2 laps to go. So, and it was weird. I mean, there was a lot of other people up there that had a real good shot to win as well. Eric Jones was up front, leading a lot of laps, doing really well. He was up front with like 5 to go, and then he got shuffled back to the back of the pack, and he went from all the way to the back of the pack to 5th. And like the last 5 laps. So if he had another lap, maybe he could have won as well. He was up front doing really well, and he's won there before. Back in 2018, he's got a decent amount of wins. So he's usually someone that usually is, you can kind of expect to be in the playoffs, but kind of having one of those more down years. But even Joey Logano was doing really well, leading a lot of laps. He was up front. He was in front of Eric Jones. He actually ended up just spinning out. I think he got bumped or he got hit or he got loose. And then he got bumped and hit, and he spun at the lead. He was up front, had a shot to win, and there's a lot of different people that had a shot at this race. There was a few wrecks in the beginning and kind of the middle of the race. Generally, you're going to get those big wrecks, big crashes at the end of these super speedways with people racing. But it was weird. The last like 10 laps just kind of played out and went all the way to the finish, which I thought was interesting. Just kind of the wrecks that were going to happen were happening kind of midway or early in the race. And like Austin Cindric, he got taken out, and Bowman and Reddick got in a wreck, but he was able to continue, but he had a lot of damage, and Bowman got taken out, and Kyle Busch got taken out, and I know other people got wrecked and taken out as well. Yeah, and even I thought the qualifying was interesting because it did get rained out or whatever, but generally when things would get rained out, I mean, they would just, the way they used to do it, I don't know how they do it now, but they would just, whoever was the points, leading the points, it would just go according to the points of race got rained out. And say Jeff Gordon was leading the points, he would be on pole for that race or whatever. That's how it used to be. It would just go in order of the points, but now they kind of do it differently. So I thought it was interesting that they put him on the pole and then without qualifying, and then he does win the race as well. And there were some other things too. I thought it seemed like there was a lot of potential narratives in this race, and it was interesting too. Even the four wide kind of photo finish. There was a lot of action in the race. I mean, it was pretty eventful. And then, of course, like I said, you get the Ryan Blaney. Ford hasn't had a driver win 2 races this year. He becomes the first to win 2 races this year. And with Ford going for the 4-peat and trying to get 4 in a row, and him and Cindric and Logano, all Penske cars got a shot. And then you got Barry that's also in it too in the 21. Especially when you see what he can do in the playoffs. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. You give him the win there, kind of build that momentum for Ford, build the momentum for the end of the season. Going into the playoffs. So, I mean, the win, I guess, does make sense. And it kind of, I know this season kind of reminds me of like the season Blaney won the championship just 2 years ago, where he didn't really win a race until like the Coke 600 in like May. And then he didn't have like a lot of wins. He was the only driver to win the championship that didn't actually win the last race. It was Ross Chastain that won the race, but he wasn't part of the final 4. So Blaney finished second. Because he finished second, he was the highest finishing of the 4. That's why he was able to go on to win the championship. So this race could have been a huge clue or a huge momentum going into the playoffs, and maybe it'll make more sense when when November rolls around, the final 4 here in the Phoenix race is getting ready. I mean, the way they set things up, and you got to look at it too. I mean, Ford with just the just not having the wins this year, and not having you got 4, so a quarter of the cars in the round of 16 are Ford. So you got to wonder how much they will prevail, and are they going to have to win? Will they be able to make it on points? So I think it's very interesting, the race in general. I mean, we did have a lot of emphasis on Ford and stuff, and that they would do well, and so we were kind of right on that. I mean, there was a lot of other people. I thought even Ty Gibbs, he was kind of up there at the end. I thought maybe he might have a shot to kind of get up there and do something. He was kind of riding like top 5, top 10, ends up coming home 8th. So pretty good race for him. But
funnily enough, Blaney is 4th in standings too. So there's that potential.
Yeah.
For Ford, but yeah, there's did you also notice the 7 and 8 are the 2 chases? I got them sandwiched together.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the two non-winners, Reddick and Bowman, and they've had some narratives here and there. I know Reddick more than Bowman, but I'm still interested to see how they'll use Reddick. A lot of me starts to, the later it gets, you start to kind of wonder for certain drivers, maybe these narratives are for later on in their career type of deal. So you see these things like there's times where Tyler Reddick like seems heavily like his numbers play a lot. Not to mention, I mean, they were kind of screaming during the whole lawsuit thing too. Keep in mind, he drives for 23XI, which was a lawsuit against NASCAR. So there was a lot, he was brought up constantly too, just because between him and Bubba, whether or not they would be even driving for 23XI to finish the season, let alone next season, based off charter and all that garbage we've talked about. But I'll, who comes out the big winner out of that? I mean, we've talked about this multiple times. Obviously we've covered it a lot, but Denny Hamlin was just on an absolute tear during the height of their lawsuit with NASCAR, and it's just like, oh, I wonder why he's just destroying. I mean, I think all but like it being too obvious is the only reason he didn't hit that 3-peat. And we called his 2-peat, we called his first and second win, and then his third win looked almost a lock. And what do you know? He was did he finish second or something? Either way, maybe he didn't finish second, but he was like first and second to the very end of the race, and then something happened and he didn't finish. He didn't get his 3-peat. And it would have been, why I say it'd be all too obvious is because, Mr. Bell already got his 3-peat, which is already, pretty crazy for one season. I think they just wanted to tone it down a little bit. But and I'm assuming, Kyle Larson and Byron, they're just tied, right? Because Byron did win the points championship, I know that, but I guess the differential, he's tied with Kyle Larson, so they're basically tied for first type of deal.
Yeah, and I thought too, I know they always change the points too. I thought that Hamlin and Ginsburg would be at the top because they had the most wins with 4. But they're always changing things up. But they probably factor in like regular season points and like bonus points, stage points, and wins and all that too. So there's a lot to going into like the order that you're going to be in when the playoffs start, when they rearrange everything.
Well, let me just let's go. I did run a little bit. Let's see, from his last win to this win, Blaney, that is. 83 days, 2 months and 22 days is interesting. I know his name, his full name has that 93 and 78, which are interesting. His slave name has that 4554 connection there. Obviously the 153 as well. Can't spell. Oops, not Society, Jesus. The Jesuit Order. Nope, just Jesuit Order. Right? Yeah, there we go. Jesuit Order, obviously, with the 153 and 54. And we've talked about this with Blaney multiple times. I think the couple of times we've mentioned him in races, it's just because the track has been had such Jesuit numbers that we had to bring him up because, of course, his name has that shares that 45, 54 or 54 153 connection. But one thing I haven't looked at, I know he's won quite a few races, but what was this race for him? What win was this? It's 15th. Interesting. So he was on 14 wins coming into it. Okay, and his sponsor was Advance Auto. Okay, so not Menards or Bosch or whatever those other ones. Wizard. Let's take a look at Advance Auto Parts.
$55.
Yeah, gotta love that 55 there. I can drive 55. Mm. 181 is not a prime. Yeah, it's the 42nd prime. Well, so we got his 15th win. And yeah, his last win in Nashville in June. We said 83 days ago. I mean, if you really want to get crazy about it, since we are talking about manufacturers, oh no, it's just Michigan, right? No, is it Detroit? Yeah, Detroit, Michigan, where Ford Motors is based out of, does equal 83. You know, that's not the biggest stretch, honestly. I wouldn't say that's the biggest stretch. Wasn't there a road course in Detroit? Or where was the road course? No, that's Chicago, right? Never mind.
Michigan's got a track, but it's an oval.
Oh, okay. Boring oval. So yeah, I mean, if you did want to, like, you know, there's potential there, but since we're talking manufacturers so much, we did see the narrative for Ford to come out on top. So if anything, at least we got the back end call of the manufacturer to win, even if we were kind of taken by surprise by it being Blaney somewhat. Like we said, it does make sense for him, and like I've said, I do have him as my pick to win it all. But so yeah, you could say obviously Ford is basically the biggest thing about Detroit, Michigan. So that equaling 83 and it being 83 days since his last win, potentially there. Go. Right, Team Penske. That's who he drives for Penske, right?
Blaney, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure I was not tripping. I am new to this, people, relatively. So I think that is their garage name, but I guess if you wanted to just take their Penske does have that 25, like 2025
yeah,
as well.
Say. Yep.
Which, I mean, you also have Logano in as well for Penske.
And he's looking for his 4th championship. Ford's looking for 4 in a row. He's looking for his 4th.
That's very interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
right
Logano's
above.
been picking it up lately too. He hasn't
Mhm.
had the luck, but he's been. I mean, if he had the luck lately, he probably have a couple more wins. But
Yeah. So, like you mentioned as well, a quarter of the field is Fords. I think it goes 4, 7, 9. I think I counted it earlier. Um, 7 Toyotas, 9 Chevys. So Chevy's the overwhelming winner of the, or maybe no, wait, that doesn't add up. Oh, I guess let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So okay, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7, 5, 4. That's the so 4 Fords, 5 Toyotas, 7 Chevys. Um, so Chevy's the big winner, at least of the getting into the playoffs. So if you were an odds maker, you'd say, the odds are Chevy wins it. That's at least the bare minimum you could say if things were all on the up and up. You could say that odds are Chevy does win. Now, I guess one fun thing we could do to break this kind of thing down. Of course, I have Blaney as my winner of it all. But that's not to say that I've crunched the numbers and ran the narrative um, through this field so far. But if we were to double down on a Ford winning this year, there's 3 other Fords to talk about, and you have Cindric, Logano, and Barry. Is there a world? Let's talk narratives, and then we can maybe look some stuff up. Because honestly, we haven't gone into Josh Berry at all. So let's look him up while we talk about him. But Josh Berry, what do you see there? Which, by the way, Josh Berry, I know you mentioned earlier, you talked about the last half lap, he took the lead. Well, I was paying attention to just the like play by play thing on the phone. And like I told you, there was a different top five, like 5 laps to go. The
oh
top
yeah,
five switched out, and it was where like where he was leading a lot of the race as well. I saw a lot of different names were up there. Obviously, let me throw this out there too. This does seem to me like um kind of a consolation prizes for a lot of the drivers that haven't performed well this season, like a Custer being in the top five, a Haley being in the top five, even Jones. He's been there. I believe he's polled pretty well this year, but he's just not been there at as far as finishes. So I think for a lot of these drivers, this was kind of like a consolation prize race, last one before the playoffs start, and it kind of like they were able to like highlight them so they can get their little, the ESPN will talk about them for 3 minutes, and then they'll move on to the playoff picture. You know what I mean? They'll be like, it's been a while since we've seen anything out of Haley, but man, he ran a great race there. They'll give you, for Team Haley, you'll be like, hey, they talked about Haley, just like they'll, when if the teams that end up winning at the end of an NBA season because the teams that have been in the playoffs for like 2 weeks are sitting all their starters, so you'll get like it's hard to say. All the teams that used to be bad when I watched sports are all the good teams now. So I was going to say Detroit, but like they went deep into the playoffs last year. Anyway, so you'll get like a bad team, and the announcers will be like, "Man, look at they really showed solid improvement against the Lakers this year." Like, but they were just playing the backups of the Lakers, but they showed they'll give you those like consolations. It's things that they're looking to keep fans in their little bubbles everywhere in all the different cities. So I see this kind of in the same way. You'll have the people who are fans of Suarez, and I'm sure Suarez probably has one of the larger fan clubs in NASCAR just because he's Mexican too. I'm just throwing that out there. I really do think that does afford him a larger audience. He has talked about quite a lot for how mid he's performed. But for a lot, especially Jones, who I think, he's had some decent seasons if I remember looking his stats up. But I think it just kind of allows them to get a top 5 under their belt when it's inconsequential for the most part for the rest of the field. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, never mind all that I just said. But what about our Barry boy? Did he finish? Where?
Yeah, that's interesting with that 21 car because we've done when he won. I know we looked into or I shared that 21 car when that 21 car wins. I forget what it was that we looked at when I sent you or when we talked about or looked it up together. But yeah, that 21 car, I know like it's always very significant whenever that car wins. I forget what it was the last time he won that we were looking at or what I found or what I was looking at, but yeah, he that's always a car that when it wins, it's always like Elliott Sadler won in like 2001 with it, and then there was other significant that was like his I think that was his first win. Um at like Bristol, and then there's always like some uh big things whenever that car wins. Like Trevor Bayne won the 2011 Daytona 500 in the 21, and then it was Harrison Burton last year. I forgot who won the Daytona race, and he was the Ford in the 21. So you have Blaney win it in the 12, and that was a 21. So you have the reflection there. 2 years in a row, you had Harrison Burton, and he got in the playoffs in the 21. And then this year you had Barry win the 21. So I think the 21 car, I think it's won like 5 times in the last probably like yeah, probably about 5 times in the last like 25 years. So it's always something big whenever that car wins. There's always like something to it. Um, so yeah, it is very interesting to see what might happen with that car with him being in the playoffs and having that spot because I think Harrison Burton didn't really do much last year uh in that 21 car, but maybe Barry might. I mean, maybe he'll get a second win. Maybe there'll be something to it. I mean, he's kind of been there at moments this year. He's kind of had some all right races. It's hard to say if there's going to be anything in the playoffs for him. He's definitely, because he's the only non-Penske Ford in the playoffs.
Mm.
That's what makes it interesting as well. So there's kind of more emphasis on that 21 car. So if he does win, it's got to be
Who's he drive for?
the Wood brothers, I believe, is the
Wood Brothers.
21.
Interesting. That's something to note for
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was that whoever's it's all been the last times that car has won. It's all been first time winners. I think is what it was
Oh,
because
interesting.
Barry, and then you had Burton last year. So Barry and Burton, and then you had Bain. You had Trevor Bain, so you have another B in there. So everyone's got a B name in that 21. You have Elliott Sadler. There might have been another one in the last like 25 years. I can't think of. Maybe it was a four. Maybe there was another one in there. I can't remember, but um, yeah. So always very significant whenever that 21 car. They've been around a long time, the Wood brothers. So it's a always been an iconic car to be in and drive in is the 21. If you're followed the sport for a long time, it's always been that kind of. They've always been like too. They've always been kind of a team that just has that driver that driver at that race that just gets those wins like that. It's weird, but um, who's in the 21, who's determined to be in it, and um, how much success you're gonna have. So I mean, maybe Barry can kind of break that where it's just only these first time winners in the 21 not doing all that much. Maybe he's the guy to turn it around or get a second win. So yeah, that's a streak that would be very interesting to see if that got broken or something changed there.
Uh, he is my age. I was born at the beginning of the year in January of 1990. But his birthday, October 22nd, can be, you know, that can, with numerology, that could be 122, just like the days left in the year coming up next race, interestingly enough. Just a small thing to say. So 24 weeks exactly since his March 16th win in Vegas next week. 168 days. That's a semi interesting number. Maybe not pertinent to NASCAR, really. But let's see. From his, we'll look at from his birthday and to his next birthday. 52 is interesting. 313 days from his last birthday. You see these Wood brothers. Let's quickly look up their full moniker. Figured it was racing. Just wanted to make sure. I'll put Wood Brothers in there just in case. I mean, that's one of the. I think I might have mentioned this too because I've definitely looked them up one time before, and just the 162, 63 repeating is odd.
Yeah, very interesting.
Keep in mind why I say that's odd is because they're repeating in the same ciphers. So it's like in the ABC cipher, the ordinal cipher, it's 162, but it's also in the the reverse. So ZYX, but going backwards, it's also 162. Same with numerology. So forwards with numerology and in reverse with numerology as well. It's 63. Like it's just odd.
Yeah, typically you don't see that.
Yeah, it's very odd to see that. I would imagine that list is very small of words that do that. Or phrases. 162. So keep that in mind though. That's very interesting. Maybe not for this race, but that's something to try to mentally note. Which I need to. You know what? I'm going to get a dedicated NASCAR decode notebook. It was brought up to me in the comments that is like and I've known this as well. That's not to take away from the suggestion, but I really should be indexing these things myself. And stop relying on my brain and stop having that ego, because that's the ego part of my brain. It's like, I'll remember. That's ego that tells you you're going to remember. And when you don't, you look foolish, rather foolish. But and Barry's sitting where was he? He's okay at the beginning of the cutoff, so he's in 13th. So he's had a good season. Points wise, he's had a great season. Just kind of like probably just picking up, just outside of the top 10s consistently kind of driver. Whereas, Reddick's finished better but never got a win. Same you could probably say for Bowman as well. So it's interesting, maybe, help us out in the comments. How do they, if you know exactly how they do these points, let us know in the comments below, or however you feel like you can get across to us if you guys know exactly how they do it. So nothing too crazy jumping off the page for Barry, but I wouldn't assume that well, here's what I'll say. Any Ford winning it, I think, will fulfill that kind of a double-sided joke of them driving the dark horse Mustangs. It'll also fulfill the Ford Pete that we talked about from, I don't know what it was, like race 2 or 3 or something like that. When we started like potentially talking about this narrative. So we've been on this for a while, guys. If you're new here, it might sound like we're just like blabbing about it. And Ford Pete. No, we've talked about this multiple times, and this narrative has been like just in the background all season long, and we've highlighted it where it deserved to be highlighted, but now we've gotten to the playoffs and we see where there's like that intersection of two different narratives that, one that I've been kind of harping on with this whole dark horse situation in the Ford, and then that combines with our thinking of the Ford Pete that was honestly your call from early on. So, that doesn't mean that that's what will happen. It's just, we're kind of keen to a particular outcome. And when we've had kind of like gut intuition, obviously the gematria has helped. When we've gotten that stuff right, it's been a thing of beauty. But there has been several times that we've gone just strictly off of narrative, maybe not strictly, but I guess heavily on narratives. And we've been able to spot these narratives like almost dead on, if not dead on. And there's been a couple that have been hindsight, but in hindsight, we were able to nail the exact narrative they've 100% used on multiple occasions. And I do want to say, I do want to make a project for myself, because it's one thing to say all this, but for people to go back and watch them, which would be huge if you guys did. I'm hoping that our podcasts are at least relatively entertaining. They're entertaining for us, for sure. So hopefully you'll find something of value, not just the NASCAR stuff, but if you guys were to go back and watch, even if you were to be fact checking us, it's easy enough to do because we talk about NASCAR at the beginning. So once we stop talking about NASCAR, it's not going to come up again. But until we stop talking about NASCAR, that's where our proof is. But besides all that, I've kind of wanted to take it upon myself to go back and highlight the races that we've called and or been able to see the narrative of, just for proof of a concept for anyone new here or anyone that didn't really follow the NASCAR stuff too closely, because I feel like we've had a really successful season for what we were just literally jumping into cold plunging into it, and we've just been I mean, definitely it's been a hoot, I'll say that. Anyway, it's been fun, talking to my son about it, and even my girlfriend, who could care less really about obviously sports or anything like that, but explaining to her the narratives that we've called and how we've called them, it's been really fun. So, but yeah, I think it'd be worth trying to make a concise video on our calls and where we've kind of stood this season, so you could not just think that we're sitting here at the end saying, oh, we've been talking about this all along. No, we've been talking about this all along. It's documented if you got the time. But if you don't have the time, maybe I'll find the time to make a video for you guys.
Yeah, with the Donald Trump and the Ford Mustang all equaling the same exact 4 ciphers, and we found that. I mean, that was huge.
So yeah, I mean, prevalent numbers as well. I know we'll talk about these numbers a little bit later on when we're talking about the hurricane too, because that definitely plays into that as well. But what I don't know if I've ever typed this in. Ryan Michael Blaney has the 93. My Ford Mustang Dark Horse. No wonder that's what he drives.
Dave Blaney's dad used to drive the 93 too.
What?
The 93 Pontiac, 93 Dodge back in 2001.
Oh, that's boom. I love when you have those tidbits on hand. So good. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Michael Blaney, 93. These guys know what they're doing. And, we've also I think is one of the cool things looking back on what we've done was we've been able to kind of like hopefully hopefully it's easy enough to understand what we're talking about, but like we've been able to point out these like initiation rituals, we believe as well. So it really showing you potentially the birth of a larger figure in NASCAR through these like rituals. And we talked about it with Zillich just a couple weeks ago. We highly feel, and like you said, it's more than likely he's starting Cup Series next year too. So look out for that. I mean, yeah, it should be interesting, but so who's next before we get to or I get too carried away on all this? Let's take a look at Austin Civic, the most recent Ford winner before Blaney did. Just,
And he won on Austin Dillon's birthday.
yeah. And Austin Cindric once again with the connections to the Jesuit order in his name, as so often these drivers have. And I believe he crashed, or
he got taken out in that wreck. Yeah.
September 2nd birthday. Like you said, he's Penske as well.
Yeah, he led the most laps in the 500. He led 92 laps, and then he was leading with half a lap to go. So I figured he would have a really good race. I mean, he was definitely had a car that could have won, obviously, with Logano doing well and Blaney getting the win. He just never got the opportunity to get taken out in that wreck.
Well, his name equals 122, like the day of the race. Yeah, 122 days left in the year. Oh. Was that Barry's birthday? No. Wait, was it?
Remember, we just saw the 1022. Yeah, it might have been. We
Was
just
that
had it. Something.
Pretty sure that was Josh Berry's birthday. Just want to double check what is happening. Yeah, so hold up. Maybe I'm wrong on that. For some reason I didn't. Okay, 303. I see. For some reason, I thought that was said 313. I was like, oh damn, that's a connection. All right. All right. So September 2nd for good old Austin. Also, look at his last win as well. Last birthday today's race. Okay. 363 days. To his next birthday. Oh yeah, duh. It's the 31st. So his birthday is 2 days after the race. And he'll be turning 27. Let's see.
Just joining the 27 club.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Watch out, Austin. They're coming for you.
Yeah, dude. He is chasing his 4th win. Interestingly enough, April 27th when he won last. So 126 days before this next race. 4 months and 4 days. Interesting. 18 weeks on the nose. What is surname? Oh, Centric has the 42 as well. And he drives the 2, and his birthday is 2 days after the race as well.
Yeah.
That could be a. I mean, this is all to say that anyone who wins is going to be in the top 16. That's not necessarily how it's going to work. I'm just, why not try to? I guess what's even more interesting is I feel like the playoffs add a layer of depth that actually makes it harder to pick a winner. But so I've been thinking potentially moving forward, we pick the winner of the field in the playoffs. So like, even if they don't win the race, say we say Christopher Bell is our winner. If he comes in 5th, but he's the number 1 out of these 16 drivers, I'd say that that's pretty much a good call. You know what I mean? If they win as far as the playoffs go, because like winning picking the driver that ends up first overall, that's like, it feels like there's another layer of difficulty because of how often, how easy it could be for a non-playoff driver to win. There's more of them, so just statistically, you know what I'm saying. Not to say that I think statistically is how these things play out. All right, let's look at Logano though real quickly. Get up, Joey.
Going for his 4th championship.
Yep. And I think that's, when we were first talking about it, it was definitely with Logano in mention for his 4th championship and the Ford Pete for Ford. So Joseph Thomas Logano. I mean, that's just crazy. And we've also talked about this. My name is Logan Thomas, and it's just like, okay, dude, what the hell?
I'm just going to invert your name for a little bit. It'll be fine.
Yeah, he won't notice. A lot of 78s playing out here. But just like we said, it's hard to avoid it, but there's that 84 right there. I'm sure you're noticing people, but same cipher in as the Jesuit order. It's few and far between that I haven't seen a pretty instant number connection to their monikers. Society of Jesus Jesuit order, that is. Let's just use his slave name, Joey. Yo, Joey.
Logano.
Joey Logano. All right. I guess they list his wins there, but it's just easier to click. Do they list his previous win as well? Maybe it's easier to go off this if they list his previous win. No. Dang. So it'd be going for his 38th win, though. Okay, yeah, that's. Oh yeah, he won on May the 4th. Another Jesuit day, 5/4, 4/5 as well. But so May 4th in Texas. So from his last 119. Just like Joey Logano. 119 days from his last win, 17 weeks on the nose.
Could it be back-to-back for Penske and Ford? Logano could be on to the round of 12.
Which is another interesting thing with him being at 12.
Yeah.
Or 12th, I'll say.
And Blaney drives to 12. And...
Yep. So that's interesting. And sorry about that. A little beat from my schedule last couple of days, but powering through. Okay, so yeah, his birthday was 20 days after his win as well. His last win, so May 24th. 99 days since his birthday. 3 months and 7 days. Isn't he's sitting on 37 wins as well? His birthday is the 144th day of the year. Huh. Go figure.
Yeah.
Jesuit order equals 144.
Teammate Austin Cindric's got the 144.
Yep. Guess I don't have that typed out. Obviously, Peep the 5/4 his last victory on May 4th. Not to mention he's had a very illustrious career, so he's paying it forward. I'm sure for sure. But yeah, you can take a peep at Pennzoil as well. I think we've done this before. Pennzoil's got the 48 as well.
33, 111, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been in that car. He's been in that car for a long time too. Like, I think he's been in it since at least 2015. So maybe even before that. I can't remember. He's been in it for a long time.
In the 22. Master number. Always interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess it's worth discussing now too. Just probably strictly narrative talk. I'm sure there's something that that's here to notice, and that's not to say that, I mean, all the Fords could pass through to the next round. In fact, I almost want to say that I think they will. I think that would be interesting to have a third of the. I wouldn't be surprised if they cut this up to where there's 4 of each in the round of 12 for the manufacturers. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they did that. But outside of the Ford drivers, because like we're saying, we're not saying that the Ford, it's hard to to tell right at this moment. There's been a couple of narratives with just the Ford drivers we're looking at. Obviously, we'd have to go down the list with all the drivers to get a good necessarily get a good grasp on more narratives for this particular race upcoming at Darlington. I guess what we can really quickly do to kind of not substantiate, but supplement our knowledge base to see who's done best recently at Darlington.
We know Byron had it in the bag. I mean, almost led every single lap. Could have set a record there. So,
I mean, look at his laps led. 144, huh? Interesting. So a lot of the familiar faces filling out the top 5 here. Chase Elliott never led a lap at this track.
that's interesting. It's been around for like a decade almost. Hasn't led a lap. It's kind of weird.
I mean, he's 6th in averages at this particular track, but he's never yet led a lap. Interesting. And yeah. That was the Denny Hamlin win, correct? The Byron Hamlin.
I think so. Yeah.
I believe so. So, I mean, I'm sure, there's so many narratives that were mid-season that, could still uh end up playing out. Like I say, almost we should always check in on I feel like we should always check in with what a particular Tennessee governor's doing every week,
Oh,
because who knows, it might just be right there in front of our face. Governor Billy. What do you mean? Why are you looking at this asshole? It's just Bill Lee. Today at Hitachi Energy announced plans to also he's breaking ground somewhere with his shitty little hard hat on. 100 new jobs. Wow. Hitachi Energy. I believe that is a Japanese company. Oh, no, it's not. Just sounds like it. Hitachi.
Hitachi.
I mean, what does it even mean? What does Hitachi mean in Japanese? it's I wonder why I thought it was Japanese. It's because it's a Japanese freaking word. So I wonder. So this must be maybe their American branch of the. Because yeah, I mean, I knew Hitachi was a Japanese company. What am I talking about?
I was gonna say, don't they make like TVs or
Yeah,
whatever
they
or
make
something?
TVs
Yeah,
and stuff, of course.
yeah. I was gonna say.
I mean, they've been around for a long time too. I remember,
Yeah.
I think Hitachi's been like it was a popular brand back in like the 80s and stuff with like I want to say like 8 tracks and stuff. But anyway, I could be wrong about that. But at least more archaic audio devices and TVs and stuff of that nature. So Hitachi is investing in Tennessee, huh? Where was that? Oh, expand. So they've already been in Tennessee. Yeah, I'm sure. Sure, everybody's happy to have Hitachi there. Oh wait, his name's William Byron Lee. Oh shit!
Oh my
god! Funny, he has that October 9th birthday, like the 109 we see quite often in NASCAR. Got the Team Penske 109. Not that it plays into Byron himself, but 109 comes up quite often. Looks like it's about the lengths of what he's been up to recently, at least from what I can tell. They had their state fair a week ago. Ham breakfast. It's a new Tennessee tradition. Yeah, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. I bet he puts on such a front to be like a country, like city first, like state first governor. He's a piece of shit, dude.
If he's in a suit and tie, he's telling you a lie.
Yes, sir. Good old Billy. Billy. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Don't forget where he took that moniker on from. Martin Luther, 95 Theses. Interesting. Of course, every city's got a Martin Luther King now, but wonder why that is.
Yep, 95. It's like Jeff Gordon won the first championship in 95. It's like all tied together with William Byron at 24.
Good old Hendricks. They got, I mean, wait, they got 2 in the top 5? No. It's in the top 10. They got 2 in the top 10.
Or 3 in the top 10. They got Larson, Byron, and Chase Elliott. Or Hendrick.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the top 2. Yeah, what am I talking about? I noticed that earlier, and then I completely just spaced it. I was just thinking about Elliott and Larson for some reason, but yeah, Byron. Yeah, so I mean, they've had a crazy good showing for their garage. Uh, Obviously, I mean, in some weird way, tying for first or whatever. Like I said, they announced Byron won the points race like 2 weeks ago, but somehow they have him sitting second. It's odd how that works, but all right. So maybe, and obviously, of course, Hendrick has the 144, 45, 72. 45 is like a reflection of 54 there. Full name Motorsports. There's that 109.
109.
And good old Billy. Huh. That's something to think about.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon had his best season, his most winning season in 98, too.
As what is his full name? Let's just take this one. Jeff Gordon, NASCAR is rigged. Oh, he's 54 years old too. August 4th. Come on. Come on. It's too easy. 8-4. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's Jeffrey Michael Gordon. See, there's so many Michaels. 109. What do you know?
And 98.
Yep, 109.98, just like Hendrick Motorsports, guys. Come on now.
Now his winningest season, 13 wins. Won over a third of the races.
Yep. Was that with the flames or the rainbow?
That was the rainbow.
Oh, he was really tasting the rainbow, wasn't he? All right, well, we'll look for any clues upcoming. Polls obviously tell a story as well as anything you guys notice. I know we there's been some great comments left about previous wins for certain drivers. We're certainly not going to go every week. We're not going to go through a field of 40 and compare date numerologies and things of that nature. Of course, if we were doing this in a more rigid way, say for, if that was our message, if that was our platform, we would. It's definitely within our capabilities. But because it's not, and we have the other things we want to talk about, and that's really, maybe one day that is what it is. And, maybe one day we're the NASCAR branch of Gematria Effect Sports. That'd be sick. But now back to you in the studio, Austin and Logan. Thanks, Richard. Anyway, so moving. So anyway, what I was saying, please do keep leaving us those great comments. We've gotten several really good comments that whether or not it played out in the race upcoming, please leave those comments. Never feel embarrassed or like ashamed to put just like we don't have any shame here. It's like it helps that we're nailing like 8 races this year. But anyway, never mind that. Yeah, never feel bashful of giving us your notes. It helps us all draw a more clear picture, as well as it's just fun. Like if you enjoy doing it, like please do. For us it's a lot of fun, and your guys' comments have been great. Whether or not it's been, I could highlight a couple. Maybe I'll do that at the end though. But yeah, we've gotten really great comments with certainly things I don't know. Austin has a head full of NASCAR facts and timestamps and dates and things of that nature, but I'm sure you guys can add to his index as well. So yeah, please do continue, and as well as narratives too. We got a lot of good narratives to think about coming into it as well. I think even a pretty succinct narrative about the potential for the playoff picture. Of course, this was last week, but anyway, yeah, please do, guys, keep the comments coming on that, or whatever you guys want to talk about as well. But yeah, that's been really cool to see that's kind of what we've been talking about for weeks and weeks now. Yeah, it's happening with NASCAR. That doesn't, if this can flourish into more topics, it will. Or if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's still definitely a boon to our spirits to see people engaging with us and leaving insightful comments, whether or not it's about sports. So that's been huge. We really do appreciate it, and keep it coming, because the more we can all discuss, the more these things can be, shed light upon and figure it out. But as we mentioned in the lead up, our second topic to discuss is none other than, I could say Hurricane Erin, but really what I mean is weather warfare and its ongoing, who knows when the first, from the start day of the war that we've been fighting against weather. Maybe that is the third world war, and we've been fighting it for decades. And all this other crap is really just a show. But because if you think about it, the devastation caused by these hurricanes and things of that nature, fires and things of that nature, I bet they add up to. I bet they put up some pretty close numbers to the casualties of war and the money, the trillions and trillions of dollars cost from war and destruction and the rebuilding and all the things of those, all the things that war brings. I'm sure weather has been right there with it as far as cost, lives, and financially.
Yeah, and then with this hurricane, I mean, like I said, I just heard about this either Monday night or Tuesday morning. I know Zach did his video on it on Tuesday. I was catching up on that, and yeah, this is yeah, we talked about this being kind of the first hurricane this year, kind of kicking things off, hurricane season and stuff, and been trying to. I got to catch up on it and see what the damage is and the tolls, how bad it's been. I haven't really looked into it too much, but obviously this is I mean, the name of it and everything is just, everything going on, and then this is going to be something where with hurricane season spooling up, and kind of we were kind of getting into hurricane season when we started the channel a year ago. We were uh in that hurricane time, and I remember there was we were talking about this about a year ago, when there's weather warfare and hurricanes coming up. And yeah, this is just going to be a sign of things to come, and many more hurricanes, I'm sure, this year, uh, especially with them just, having 100% control of the weather this year and owning it, and all the destruction they've been causing and the flooding. Um, and this to be affecting what I've known is to be the whole East Coast. I think I seen some stuff on New York today. New York getting flooded or attacked by it, or uh, having quite a bit of damage. So yeah, this is going to be, and this has been kind of I mean, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't hear about this kind of coming up, but it just kind of caught my attention this week, and then it hit, and it's been, I believe, still going, so still causing more damage. But yeah, this is going to be something I think that, I mean, weather warfare with these hurricanes. I mean, who knows how many hurricanes we're going to have by November, the next few months, uh, at this rate. And we all know with these hurricanes, I mean, remember last year there was all about the lithium deposits, and uh, the agendas they had, and then also, I mean, to displace people and get people on the ropes and get them on the run and get them out of there. So, and then come in, do your dirty work, and kind of screw everyone else over. That's really what these storms are all about. Each one's got a little bit different narratives, a little bit different intentions every time, depending on what they want to do and strategically as well, and where they want to send them. I mean, sometimes we see these things. I mean, they send them up the coast, it'll hit the whole coast. Times it'll go up and down the coast. It'll come inland, then go out, then go back inland. Sometimes it'll travel all the way up to like Wisconsin, and then it's just like, why are we having a hurricane in Wisconsin? And uh, yeah, don't forget. I mean, it was last year. It was November. We had that hurricane that hit Washington State. The cyclone bomb literally showed a hurricane hitting us. So yeah, these things are no joke. And call it Aaron, call it whatever you want. I mean, whatever name they're going to put on it, they can do whatever they want with these things. Steer them wherever they want, however they want. Create them wherever they want. I mean, if they want a hurricane to hit Washington, they can do it. If they want it to be uh, hit Idaho, they can do it. I mean, they can hit wherever they want. They can have things any time of the season, any time of the year. I mean, we already see how um, displaced the weather is. I mean, you don't really know ever what you're going to get any time of the year, but uh, yeah, with it being hurricane season, I definitely expect this to be a pretty bad one. I mean, I know last year was, and last year with the worst year with tornadoes and the twisters came out, and it's even been a worse year with that. It's been uh, it seems to be like the worst year ever with flooding and stuff like that. And this is just going to drag up those tolls by a ton with the whole East Coast.
Absolutely. And you know, of course, you mentioned uh the whole East Coast. Not to mention, you mentioned the flooding North Coast, the lithium situation from Asheville that I'm sure people have already forgot about. We've covered it and talked about it multiple times, but uh that was September 27th, a huge day to the Jesuits. So I'm sure they were, as far as it not doing too much, it just kind of grazed the coastline, caused some coastal flooding. But I'm sure seeing the pictures, let me bring it back up. Like just so you see, because apparently this was a humongous, pretty large hurricane. It was just far enough offshore, but you don't know what route it's going to take. And so I'm sure the people in Asheville who, are probably still cleaning up their backyards see this thing. They're like, ah, shit. What are they going to do to us now? Because yeah, that was a huge land grab, as these things tend to trend and tend to be. A lot of people are becoming hip to it, as much as you can be hip to it, but still not, present an obstruction for these people to continue to do what they want to do, unfortunately. But North Carolina was one of the most threatened from this hurricane in the news. um Thankfully nothing too bad happened. It did say like the biggest damages were to some sea turtles, which, oh, poor guys, they don't deserve that. Leave the turtles alone. But yeah, this is like you said too. This is just, it's just the beginning. It's just the who knows what they're gonna, you know, slap us with next. This is really, in my opinion, just a teaser. If anything, rather than blast us from the beginning, I think this serves to give them a platform to talk about climate change and all these things in relation to these things before a big destructive hurricane hits. Um, so they can take this as an example and say, we're not going to be so lucky next time, which they love saying that kind of thing. It's not if, but when. And by the time the next one comes in, they will have like not a basis. It's not like people don't know hurricanes can happen at this point. It's just like, what am I trying to say? It's like the programming. It's like they've reset the programming for this year. And so you got to do the whole thing over again. It's almost like certain holidays. I've always felt like this way. Certain holidays are mental programming for people. Like people base their years around Christmas, Halloween, New Year's. And so it's like they'll have these markers. So it's like at a certain point in the year, you're post New Year or you're post Christmas. Like that's how you think about it. So it's like when certain events happen, I know that might seem random. I'm probably not conveying this as well as I could on the spot, but my point being is I feel like could just be like a marker to not to signify the next hurricane, but as a case study for the next hurricane. They'll draw back to this one when the next one comes, is what I'm kind of trying to say. But as far as the numbers and what it represents, there's no shortage of that. I have a quick little slide I would like to share with you guys. Hopefully you guys can see it well. But interesting date this thing formed, huh? Started as a tropical wave on August 11th. I mean, it's my son's birthday, so it's a special day for me in that way. But it's also a special day to our controllers in that is the patent date for what? The method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and magnetosphere. Well, that's interesting. Who was that patent awarded to? Oh, it was awarded to the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, otherwise known as HARP. So, obviously a branch of scientific study that focused on weather patterns and changing weather patterns in order to suit different needs and what would happen here and there, blah blah blah, whatever the hell they do. Apparently they don't do anything because they only have their one facility and it's in Alaska. And if you try to look up any other facilities, AI will be quick to tell you, oh no they don't. They only got the one in Alaska. Stop asking. But they certainly don't have any on the mountains of Lahaina. Don't go looking there. There's no HARP facilities in Lahaina. Okay, don't even ask. But in fact, there's HARP facilities in between our. Well, I say our, but technically ours now, but in the Oregon and Washington coast. But don't go looking. Don't ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys notice, it started as a tropical wave, which sounds like a Mountain Dew drink already. Uh-oh. God forbid you were getting Mountain Dew drinks named after your tragedy like Lahaina did. Anyway. But yeah, what day did it become described or, categorized as a hurricane? Oh, yeah, August 15th. Nothing special about that day. That day is just skip over. Oh, wait. You're telling me in 1534, August 15th, St. Ignatius of Loyola and 6 of his good buddies, known as the First Companions, took vows of poverty and chastity in Paris? They couldn't get no pussy anyway. This is the chastity part they could have left out. Have you seen this homie? He had the full monk bald spot and I'm not one to talk. I'm already losing my babies. But he was cooked at 25. So I don't want to hear about him and his ugly homies. They weren't procreated. They weren't extending they weren't having any progenies to begin with. Anyway, I won't stop roasting this guy, my bad. But yeah, took their vows of chastity in Paris, France, a pivotal moment marking the founding of the Jesuit order, officially the Society of Jesus. So a pretty big day as far as the Jesuits go, and I say as far as the Jesuits go, but it really as far as their network goes, because I'm sure I'm sure everyone who works for the CIA gets a special letter or email that day. Yeah, I bet there's some company picnics that people have no idea what they're celebrating on August 15th that work at like the CIA and FBI. It's just like, yeah, every August 15th we get pizza in the office or something like that. We get to go to Epstein Island anyway. Uh, so yeah, just real interesting dates. Obviously, highlighting that it starts on the patent date for HARP, um, becomes a hurricane on the founding day of the Jesuit order, and furthermore, just a little bit extra points of reference. Their full name, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, equals 227 in reverse with numerology. Peep the day of the year that August 15th lands on this year. It wouldn't be, it's the 227th day. Wow. What a coincidence. Hey, is 227 have any other special properties? Oh, it's the 49th prime. Interesting that, Donald J. Trump equals 49. Well, why would I bring him up? Well, how many days are left in the year on August 15th? 138, like Donald Trump. Interesting. Obviously, I bring this up because this affected the U.S. coast the most. Also, just for added points, HARP, it's the anagram HARP and Erin both equal 26. Interestingly enough. So yeah, there's gematria to back it up. That these things are, this is a tool in their kit to use against us. And you might be saying, it's a coincidence that it's the Jesuit order or whatever. Well, for those of you who know, if you know, you know. But let's check out weather control, as it would be coined. Of course, JFK gave his weather control speech, and of course his successor, fuckboy from Texas, gave that speech at Texas A&M or wherever, or University of Texas, about who controls the weather controls the world. Weather control 201. The Jesuit order, which we just spoke about, 3 out of 4 cipher match with weather control, and you just think about a clandestine organization hell bent on control of not just weather control. It's almost like there should be a comma in it, like weather comma control, because it's more so than controlling the weather. It's the control from the weather. Does that make sense? It's like weather could be what anyway. Like I said, I just think that it's something they gained from, it doesn't have to be a hurricane. I'm talking about like regular inclement weather on certain days or in certain ways can have potentially profound effects, and it doesn't have to be a large scale assault like a hurricane for it to be or a tornado or things of that nature for it to be considered control. Think about drought, the lack of weather, that is control. That is, so hopefully that paints a picture of what I'm saying. But yeah, what do you think this you think this year is going to be a big weather year?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, like I said, it already has been, especially with the flooding. I can't remember seeing another year with all the flooding and the tornadoes. I think it's been worse than last year as well.
I think I meant to
So
phrase that as
definitely,
hurricane season, but it's been a big
yeah,
weather year. You're absolutely correct. I meant like new hurricane season. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they will just keep ramping up on the hurricanes too. I mean, they're just going to keep ramping up on everything. I mean, um, and we know with these storms and these hurricanes, like I said, I mean, the way they have the weather, I mean, you almost say now it's like, well, what even is a hurricane? What's a twister? What even is this stuff? I mean, it's like I said last year, we had the hurricane or the cyclone bomb hit Washington. I mean, I mean, from my area, I mean, there was some areas that weren't affected. All other areas, there was trees down. There's like massive damage. There's power outages. There's all this stuff. I mean, so they can conjure up anything and pretty much call it anything. I mean, and do whatever they want with it too at this point. So that's the thing. I mean, hurricanes, whatever they want, and I'm sure they're going to aim them all over the place. I mean, I won't be surprised if we get another one come November or something, or sooner or later. But uh, yeah, I mean, I'm sure Texas. We know Texas; they love to smoke that area with
The Gulf,
twisters and yep,
Gulf of
flooding and
America,
everything.
baby.
Yeah, they're gonna definitely hit the Gulf of America because they got to swamp that area some more, and then I'm sure they're gonna keep sending them up the East Coast. So yeah, this is gonna be something where it's just and two, it's like with the weather. I mean, I won't be surprised if we see these things kind of drag out more into uh colder times too, like into the winter more, where
Mm.
it's uh it could really affect people that way because then it's now it's not even like fall, it's like winter, it's cold, and now a hurricane's coming. It's like what? So now it could now I mean, it could do a lot of damage to people. I mean, like I always say, if you want to really mess with people or take them out, you want to do it in the cold where it's gonna really hurt a lot of people and take a lot of people out. I mean, if you want to turn off the grid or have a cyber attack or whatever, that's the time to do it. So, um, and then you could always just blame it on these storms or blame it on the weather or whatever. So, yeah, they have a lot of ammo in their arsenal. They can just kind of aim around and do what they want with it. Um, yeah, and in these hurricanes, I mean, this is just kind of starting it off here, and it's like I said. Of course, they got to call it Aaron, and who knows what the other ones are going to be called. The names they always got to have these names, and for certain reasons, and I'm sure too. I mean, there's going to be agendas with these, like last year with the lithium and all that stuff, and
Mm.
going into areas and clearing areas out and misplacing people and getting people off the land. I mean, there's going to be uh, ones they do this year for could be more lithium or could be other ideas or different things as well. Um, Maybe making room for AI facilities, that type of thing, because those are going to be going up everywhere and cost people a bunch of money. So yeah, they're just these storms are really it's not the destruction. It really it's the construction with these
Good
storms
point.
uh, that build everything and get everything in motion and allow their agendas to really move forward. And like I said, I mean, the thing is, it's just nowhere safe. I mean, you don't know when and where these things are going to happen and what they're going to do, um, and I mean, they're just moving things, changing things up all the time. So you really never know. I mean, I'm sure everyone, no matter where you live, is going to have to deal with major consequences of weather warfare in the next 5 years. I mean, it's just how bad is it? How many times do you get hit, and where do you go, and how do you evade? I mean, there's only so much you can do, but yeah, they just want to inconvenience people, and of course, too. I mean, like I said, too, if these storms don't hit you, I mean, you still end up paying for them anyways. Raise up
Yeah.
everyone's insurance. Uh, it damages other people. It sends other people. All these people now that are getting hit on the East Coast, they're fleeing more towards the West Coast, trying to get away, and then you got people dispersed all over the place. I mean, it's like last year, the people from the South had to go wherever they could go, and now you got the first wave coming through on the east, so it's gonna, spread a lot of people around. Obviously, a lot of homeless people, a lot of people are living in their cars. So people don't got anything. That's gonna really affect those people, and um, yeah, it's all part of a massive agenda that just keeps getting bigger by the day, and yeah, just you never know what's it going to be? I mean, they could have another one coming up the coast in a week from now, just right behind it. We know they like to do it a lot, and just steer it wherever you want it to go, and uh, make it be as bad or whatever for whatever agenda that they have in mind.
Yeah, and it looks, as far as the narrative with it, they're saying they're predicting 16 storms this year. There's been 5 named storms in the Atlantic. And they say we expect the second half of the hurricane season to be more active than the first half. So happy. But the next one they're saying is Fernand, which reminds of like Ferdinand, kind of.
Yeah.
Of course, the start of World War One. And there's a lot that could be said about his license plate and things of that nature. Is the start date of World War One. Anyway, or the car he was assassinated in, the license plate on it was the start date of World War One. Anyway. What is there anyone just named Fernand? What is Fernandez Center Loyola? Yeah, sure. Like, what is Fernand? Why did it take the whole thing? Son of a bitch.
Like
Like
Franz
what?
Fernand.
Yeah, but what is? Why name it Fernand? Fernand. What is that? I don't see it. What does the name Fernand mean? Brave traveler or daring adventurer? Okay, it comes from Ferdinand. Okay, boom. So, hey, there you go. There you go. They're not clever. They can't think of anything new. They're just playing on old things. In fact, what was the start date of World War One? These are probably things I should remember, but July ended on November 11th, 111. Interesting. So July 28th. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. So it started a month after that. Anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but not really. It's named after this person, so we'll see what this brings. They highlighted 2 storms. Where was it? I have it all blown up. Let's see if I can find it here. Nope. There we go. All right, on the tail of Erin, I'm guessing this is Fernand, or I don't know. I guess it's just an ad. Never mind. Just trying to figure out, if my coast is going to be destroyed. But hey, thanks for the ad. Probably should send ads on videos about hurricanes. It's probably a good idea. Anyway, we'll see. As far as the names go, they go in order. I can't remember the weird arbitrary reason why sometimes they skip letters. I think it's because like the potential for a storm started. So even though because they call it's so dumb that it's like they're called named storms. Oh, you just your whole city's flooded. It wasn't a named storm though. It's not like it was named. It's like are we blaming the storm? Are we blaming the clouds now? What is going on? Damn you, Fernand. I guess we're like anthropomorphizing, like however you say that. The weather patterns to kind of take the heat off of the people with the controls to the said weather. Kind of what it seems like by naming them. But anyway, look out for Archduke Franz Ferdinand's ghost in the clouds within the coming week. I did see though. Oh, I got rid of it. Why did I delete that? I'm a dingus. It was, I believe it was the 29th will be the 241st day of the, or let me just double check it real quick. Hold up.
We got a week left to August.
Yep.
Going into
So crazy.
September.
So crazy. So the 29th. Hold on. Tropical storm. Oh, Strom. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Ferdinand. Yeah, 241. So yeah, I don't know. I was right. I second guessed myself. But yeah, the 29th will be the 241st day of the year, like Tropical Storm Ferdinand. So look out, Bahamas, on Friday, this upcoming Friday. Hopefully nothing, but they're saying it could affect those island nations. As I mean, what a place to live. What a place to live. Those islands. I'm sure it's beautiful 90% of the time, but just what do you do when a hurricane rips through your little island? It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. They're just in the worst spot ever for that. It's just no resistance. And you know, if things were on the up and up like they tell us, like these you know, if things were like they tell us, I'm sure they could just steer things right into coastlines. That there's no real resistance that comes from our coasts or anything like that, or anywhere for that matter. I'm sure these things, if you've looked into history at all, I bring up Operation Gomorrah all the time. That's everyone's homework. If you made it this far in the video, is look up Operation Gomorrah. And that's one instance of just how powerful, and this is back with older technology, how powerful and how capable they were of whipping up storms and things of that nature, no matter where, no matter land mass or anything like that. So yeah, don't hold your breath if they're saying a hurricane's coming your way. Don't rest on your laurels thinking it can't get to you or whatever. You know, they'll have their ways. I'm sure the day will come that we'll have a national hurricane.
Yeah,
you know, literally east to west coast. I they'll find a way to figure that out. Like they'll say, "Oh, it skipped across the Great Lakes. It would have died out, but it caught a weather pattern over the Great Lakes, and then that northern, you know, jet stream really carved out through the Rockies, through Montana, and then it just was able to swirl down to California. And once it got to the Pacific Ocean, it really picked up right around through Mexico and the Santa Cruz area. And we're now tracking it through Brazil, and it's looking like it's making its yeah. So I think that day will come that we will see maybe it's not the U.S. either. Maybe it's, you know, somewhere else that you wouldn't assume it could happen like that, coast to coast type of hurricane. But wouldn't be surprised when it happens to the U.S. either. I know, like you said, you know, these things end up being land grabs and in ways, like you said, pushing AI manufacturing. That's a huge tell as well. And when we talk about lithium mining in Asheville, and after that, we've spoken in depth on the geological survey. And I've told people it's weird. It's weirdly hard to track now. They basically say every state is under geological survey, but that's not ever what I'm looking up. I literally saw a chart that said when your state was going to be in under geological survey. And at the time, I was living in Portland, and Oregon was under geological survey. And literally, the geological survey planes flew around above my house all day, all night, every night. You can tell which ones those are because they have a probe at the end of the plane. Anyway, it blinks and everything. But Asheville's geological survey ended right before Hurricane Helene, right before. And what did that geological survey find? That they're rich with lithium and quartz and all these minerals. And what was one of the first industries back up and running in Asheville? Oh, the mining company was right back at it, before anybody can clean up their front yard or even get their house put back. Not that houses got put back, but I mean, before anyone could get there, any normal person got anything, got their footing in Asheville, the mines were right back at it. It's like, it's just they're so obvious. Just, Oprah's the first one building a house after Lahaina, these types of things. It's just like, come on, people. I think Oprah was the first one. Oprah was back in the news too with a flood. Did you hear about that? How she owns like a stretch of road. Like her property reaches over a road. And she was not allowing people to pass during a flood. It's like, yo, dude, savage. I mean, good on her, dude. I don't know. I can't say given the same situation, I wouldn't have done the exact same thing. I don't know. Maybe once I've attended enough backroom parties, I'd probably start blocking people off at roads during floods too. Once I saw enough sacrifices right in front of me and weird bloody sex rituals and
probably get your billions.
Yeah. So yeah, it's who's to say I can't really empathize with her. I can't put myself in her Gucci shoes, unfortunately. So who am I? All right, Gyro. Hey, who that? He got a new toy, so he's letting you guys all hear about it. Anyway, once again, it's just, hopefully this serves, obviously nothing big happened. And all jokes aside, hopefully this serves for not just people on the East Coast, even though during hurricane season, it's predominantly East Coast. You could say middle states too, because a lot of people consider Texas area to be middle of the road, but whatever, you get what I'm saying. The Gulf and the East Coast are generally the ones hardest hit by hurricane season. It's something to take seriously. And it's also something that has always baffled me that, I mean, have you seen Florida? Have you seen the East Coast? Have you ever gone to like Google Earth and gone up and down the East Coast? It's sandbars throughout the entire East Coast. It is sandbarred. Now, not everywhere on the East Coast are people living on those sandbars, but a lot of it. People live directly on, so it's like sandbars are just like propped up sand where they allow an inlet through to the land. So say you were going to go to the beach in Florida, like you go to the beach, but like outside of the beach, there's a sandbar where you're seeing houses. And then of course, if you go to the sandbar, you're looking just out towards the ocean. But that's like wild to me. It's like you guys are in the most heavy hurricane hit spot and you just choose to build on the sand in the ocean. It's just wild to me. But yeah, the West Coast is not like that at all. So it's really weird, the dichotomy there. And please guys, put your thoughts in the comments off what I'm talking about, because me personally, I've done enough research to kind of go through the theories, if you will, about the United States and its past and who built it and whether it was built and before founding, all these types of things. So leave all that stuff in the comments below. That's all super interesting. And I'm always looking to know more about that stuff too. But either way, it's definitely interesting that the whole East Coast is sandbarred, but it's just another weird thing. It's just like, why? And to my point, why I'm asking why is it's already built. So more than likely, it wasn't being hit by hurricanes every year back in the day. So what? Oh, is it really climate change is the reason hurricanes are whipping up nowadays? Give me a fucking break. I doubt that. Point being is I believe that this weather modification is fairly new to our, and who knows, maybe that was the downfall of the last. We could speculate. This isn't what this episode's supposed to be about. It's just so interesting. Maybe we do got to do like a more conspiratorial episode soon. We got to really get one planned up. And me saying that is because me and Austin have not a hard time, but we're busy throughout the week. So really like keeping in good contact to plan out an episode per se has been more difficult than it was in our earlier episodes. So please guys, give us comments, give us ideas for episodes. There's lots of stuff that we can spend a day researching and get a footing on and talk about if you guys want us to talk about it. And I know, me personally, I love all sorts of different theories about, we can even keep it in the US and just theories about the country, whether it's old structures, old world, old original peoples, all sorts of different things that we could get into. But I feel like we haven't had an episode like that in a while. It'd be nice to throw those back in the mix. Just saying.
Yeah, I'd like that too. Go back to kind of throwback episodes, like our first so many episodes, because I had a lot more time then too, and we had uh, a lot of great deep dives and a lot of deep research and just looking at things. And I know we like even like the Great Wall of China. That was that episode. I mean, those were a lot of great episodes. Like if you go back like the first like 10 of them, I'd say. Uh, and kind of like the last, I mean, like since like the 30s and stuff, we haven't had as like deep as like the first like I'd say the first 10 were some of my favorites because it's like a lot of stuff we always kind of wanted to talk about or things that we were interested in, and we got into like the pyramids and all that stuff. So yeah, go check out those videos if you haven't seen them. The Great Wall, and we did like underground like military bases, dumps, things like that. Yeah, a lot of great episodes there, and we did some other ones too, but other concepts and things. And I mean, we really talked about it in 49 episodes. We talked about pretty much just about anything and everything on the channel. So there's something in there for that. I mean, the first 10 episodes, we kind of really reached, I think, kind of a little bit everything just then. So,
well, we're not done yet. So hit us with your favorite topics, guys, and we'd love to talk about them. I mean, even if you really want to get involved, hit us up in our emails, and if you want to be a part of the episode, that'd be awesome too. If you guys have presentations you want to share, hit us up in the email. It's scrolling all most episodes. I make sure I have that up, but it's also in the description every week. We really are striving to make this more of a community based channel, and yeah, it'd be nice to have it doesn't take a YouTube channel. There's nothing to it, guys. There's really nothing to it. Just hop on and talk to us. That's all. It is what it is. It's just, if you feel like you have a good enough rapport with us, just from, not that you need one, just from listening to us weekly or however many times you've listened to us, hop on, and we're just as easy to talk to in real time. And let's riff it up. That's what we do best. But moving on from that, I say that our closing topic would be kind of, not to say that hurricanes are a good note, but definitely a more personally somber note. We talked about a little bit in the lead up, and I'll have a little bit I want to share on that as well. But we talked about Zach's misfortune recently, and which is crazy too, because I'd love to tell you a way to like support him in the meantime. He's doing fine, by the way. I'm not sitting here not telling you not to support him either. It's all, he needs support regardless, just because of the work he puts out, let alone him having a tough time. like I said, hopefully everything works out for him, and it's all his money is returned. But either way, the headache and the changing around and the inconvenience of everything he's going to have to do moving forward is already just a pain in the ass of his already busy schedule. But either way, yeah, I know you wanted to talk about things that have happened to you, kind of almost parallel things that have happened to you, and then we can kind of talk about. Oh, what I was gonna say is I would love to tell you how to support him right now, but I don't think it's. I honestly don't think you should. Not that you shouldn't support him, but like apparently these guys have a hold of all of his accounts, and until we get updated, I wouldn't be sending him money through like anything until further notice. So maybe there's been an update there, but until there has been that I know of, I don't want to sit here and say you should, honestly. But as soon as we have an update, obviously keep that in mind. But yeah, it just sucks that it's to that stage as well where you can't even recommend help because the digital help doesn't work right now. So it's just what I did say too in his live stream was that it's kind of a cautionary tale for how connected we are to these institutions and to our phones and putting everything on there. And it is what it is. It's like the convenience is not free. And if you think the one-time cost of the cell phone is what the cost is for having this convenience, I think you'll find out sooner than later that that's not the case. But please, before I ramble out of this right out the room, I know you wanted to kind of give anecdotal experiences that you've had that run parallel to what's going on with Zach. So
Yeah, I mean, and I've had all kind of targeting, and we've had videos talking about targeting individuals, electronic harassment, gang stalking. I mean, I've shared some stuff on here too, things that have happened to me, and um I've dealt with it all over. I mean, I dealt with it quite a bit in Wisconsin. There was different ways they were getting at me. In Wyoming, there are different ways they were getting at me, and they've done it in Washington too. When I lived in Seattle for that time, and there was things that would happen, and I'd go places, and then things would happen to me, and there was some other stuff of mine that got hacked. I know there was someone was like leaking like stuff that I didn't have, like or someone made like deep fake videos of me and stuff like that, and people were like messaging me about it. This was like back in, I think, like 2018 or 2019, but people were like messaging me like, hey, there's videos of you and there's this and that and stuff. And there was people that were like, and then somehow they were like getting a hold of other people, messaging other people. I mean, I've had a lot of people mess with me too and do stuff. um but yeah, I mean, just even the last 3 years since I've been back to Washington. I got back here in May of 2022. um and yeah, I noticed things kind of really have been, it's been a real tough last few years. This all this stuff happened to me, and I had just, coming up on 3 years. It was December 2nd of 2022. I had my car stolen. I was out Ubering. It was my last trip of the night. I had literally just like I just had to pick up, like, I was like a mile from home. I just pick up like a couple orders, then just drop them off, and I was done. Um, yeah, some lady walks in and was like, just like, I don't know. I was like, I went to the bathroom for like 30 seconds. She comes out, or she comes, walks in. It was weird. Just kind of looked right at me. Like, she gave me this look, and she pulled up, and like, I have a 2010 Corolla right now. I had a 2005 Corolla. Uh, had a COVID as a hoax bumper sticker. I got it in Wyoming from Mike Decker, and had that on there and stuff. And um, yeah, this lady walks in, just kind of gives me this weird look. So I'm going out the bathroom, and then she's like, it's just the weird way she looked at me. Something was weird about it. I'm just like, what's all this about? And she's like, oh, I like your Nirvana beanie or whatever, something like that. I'm like, oh, thank you or whatever. And then she had a car like mine. It was like a white Corolla, but it was like a newer one. It's probably like a 2020 or 20, maybe it was brand new 2022, but it was running. I walked out, I looked, I'm like, oh, okay, that's your car, whatever. And I looked at mine, and that's when I seen it. I had to stop for a second, make sure I wasn't like losing it, make sure I was really seeing what I was seeing, because all of a sudden I see my car like backing up, and I'm just like, wait. And then I seen the guy. I briefly seen the guy steal my car, but yeah, he drove out the parking lot and got away. So I mean, it was. I mean, I didn't have time. I mean, I don't. I mean, was this, just one of these things where it's like, was he in connection with that lady? I mean, where did he come from? What was this all about? And it was weird too, because it was December 2nd, 2022, and it was carjacked equals 29. It left 29 days left to go in the year, and I thought all of it was just really strange. The way it happened, it's being like a mile from home, last trip of the night, and um, it was just one of those nights. And I had to wait for the police and stuff to get there, lady cop, and then I had to sit at the place, and she got there, and I called back, and they finally showed up, and she gave me a ride home and stuff. But um, yeah, that was just one of those nights. And then it was really, I think they found my car a week later. But what was weird about it is the way they kind of went about it, because like somehow I mean, it took them like a week to find it, but it was found abandoned in an apartment complex, I guess, somewhere in Tacoma. But um, yeah, I mean, it was totaled. It was, the windows were busted out. They stole everything except like I had a little frisbee in the back that was still in there, and then I had like some old torn up running shoes that were still in there, and I think there was like um I think I had like a box, like 5 Hour Energies, and they stole everything else on my car. I had quite a bit of stuff in that car. It was uh I did have a lot of problems. I was having a lot of issues with it. It had like almost 200,000 miles on it. I think it had like 282 or something, but I had a lot of issues. And um yeah, they ended up stealing it, like, I guess multiple times, because it was like rewired. It was hot wired like multiple times, and uh, you could literally see where like they tried to like steal it and re-steal it, and then try and find other ways. I mean, they totally destroyed the ignition. The windows were shot out. I mean, they ripped the car apart. I had a radio I had put in, that I put in Seattle, and I was living in Seattle back in like 2019. They ripped that out. They stole that. Um, I mean, they literally just they stole just everything, ripped out everything. My insurance, all my paperwork, everything. I had a lot of nice little, cool little gadgets, little flashlights, cool little like multi tools, all kind of stuff like that in the car. I mean, there's a lot of, nothing like really expensive to steal, just a lot of little things they ended up getting away with. A lot of just, I had a bunch of stuff in the trunk, and there's like a lot of stuff that you can't really replace, but yeah, that really seemed like it kind of started something when that happened. It seemed like it kind of, I mean, things just kind of got weird after that. Uh, I mean, the police let me know that they found it and everything, and then I went to where they had it there at the place, and I looked at it and stuff, and grabbed my stuff, and that was kind of the end of that. And then they uh, ended up taking it to the junkyard and stuff. We had to get on a hauler and stuff, and it uh, ended up costing me money. I mean, to get it out and do all that. So, I mean, it was, I mean, and then my insurance for Uber and what the car was worth, it didn't even pay for it. So I kind of just had to just kind of eat it and just take my loss. And it wasn't good, but it was kind of one of those situations. But it was about a month later. That was the very end of 2022. And then it was January 2023. And then from January 2023 to April 2024, I had someone was stealing my mail. I don't know who was or how they were able to do it, but I had like paperwork coming in, like taxes stuff from Wyoming the year before, in 2022, before I moved and stuff like that. And they were telling me they were sending it out. I had other things too coming in the mail. It was like tax time, stuff like that. And somehow they were getting all my information, all my paperwork, everything that was coming in the mail. And I went down to the post office like 10 times to figure out where my mail was, how someone could be like stealing it and doing this. And they're like, yeah, there's no way someone could do that. And they'd have to change your mailing address, and that wasn't changed, but yet I wasn't getting any of my mail. So There was like a 4-month conspiracy, and then finally my mail started showing back up around April. And I was able to do my taxes and stuff and get other things filed and get other stuff. But yeah, and I definitely know it had something to do with uh, when my car got stolen. And like I said, I think that whole situation was weird. How my car was, they couldn't find it for like a week, and I was talking to the guy on the phone, the insurance guy, and he's like, "Yeah, as soon as they mark that car, as soon as you call and report it's stolen, I mean it's tagged, so any police or tow trucks that are nearby will just move right in on it." And I mean, I'm like, well, I don't know how they got away for a week. I mean, how do you miss the COVID is a hoax sticker? I mean, the car's white. It's just, I don't know how. And there was like 7-Eleven pizza boxes in the back. So at some point they went to 7-Eleven and had pizza, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, uh, but like I said, I briefly kind of saw the guy steal it and get away and stuff. And then, um, yeah, it kind of led to that incident. And then it was after, uh, things were kind of all right around that time. I know me and Zach, we went out to Seattle there, like not long after that, in April of 2023, and then we went out to the MLB All Star game there in July, and then we went out to Seattle there. That was the last time we went to Seattle, was September. Um, yeah, of 2023, and it was right after that. It was like October 1st. I had a very similar situation to what Zach went through, where someone hacked my stuff too, and I have a Wells Fargo. I go through Wells Fargo as well. Um, and I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure it was all AI, because I don't believe this was. I mean, it could have been people, but I'm pretty sure it was AI. There could have been people involved, but um, yeah, someone was, I guess, or someone was like trying to pretend that they were like Uber support or something, uh, and they called me, and then they were like, "Yeah, someone, or as a customer, someone giving you a hard time or something." I'm like, No, not that I know of." And I looked, and like I seen there was like someone gave me like a bad rating or something. So I'm like, well, I don't know. Did somebody say something, or like did something come up? And then, because I wouldn't even like it was like one of those calls where it's like, well, what is this? Why are they calling me and stuff? And then, um, yeah, I can't remember exactly how it all played out, but it was like someone just like calling me, and like I said, it could have been an AI call. It's hard to say if it's a person or not, but yeah, it was something with Uber, and then like they were trying to like reimburse me or something, and then they had me thinking that I was on the phone with like Uber support and stuff, because they were like reading me all my stuff, and I was like telling myself, because there was multiple calls. There was a call that day, and there was a call the next day and stuff, and what got me was just like how they knew this information, because I'm like, well, because if they didn't, I mean, if they were saying something, I'm like, and I looked and I'm like, oh, this must be, because how would they know all this stuff? That's how they kind of got me with it, was just what they already knew, and this like how they were getting a hold of me, and it would come up as an Uber support number, and they'd call and be like, yeah, this is Uber whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, and yeah, it was October 1st. Like this was, I think this was going on like September, and then it was like October 1st. There was like another guy or something that called me and stuff, and then it was after that where that's when my bank account, I got like an email or something from my bank or something, like fraud alert or something, and then my phone was kind of blowing up, and I was getting like multiple calls and stuff, and then it was like Wells Fargo saying, "Oh, these purchases are being made and stuff," and then I was talking to I was trying to call the bank or trying to call whoever it was. And then I was trying to talk to them. And then it was like, they were trying to like cut the line on the phone. And I was like rushing home. This is October 1st, just like 2 years ago. And I was rushing home, and they're like trying to cut the line, and like, so like I couldn't contact them, and like I had to call like multiple times, and like they like I told them to like freeze my bank or cut the thing off, and like I thought they took care of it, and they didn't, and then the things kept going to like the next day or whatever, and there was like more purchases, so I had to call them back, and then there was another number that was pretending to actually be my bank. But the thing was, it sounded like I thought they were my bank, but then I noticed, I'm like, well, why does this guy sound like that other guy that was like one of the Uber guys, or like I noticed their voices sounded similar and stuff, and I'm like, well, who's this? And I was like calling, and I'm like, is this number legit? Should I be trusted? I was like talking to Wells Fargo, and then like, they're like, yeah, if they're saying it's Wells Fargo and stuff, and then like, okay, and then I called them back, and then like, I said something different, like, oh no, this is the number you would call for that. There's no other number. If it's someone else, it's probably the scammer or scam. So I'm like, oh, okay, and then like, so that's how I kind of figured out that. I mean, it was like there was people trying to pretend that they were my Uber support or like customer or something, and then I had people pretending that they were my bank. So I had all these people messing with me on all these levels. That I again, was it people? Was it AI? I mean, it could have been both. It could have been AI, but um, yeah, they ended up. It was very similar to Zach's situation. They ended up stealing like $7,000 on my bank account. Um, I forget what the exact number was. I wrote it down, but I mean, it was just like Zach's, where they were making purchases. I mean, it was purchases from all over, just like New York and stuff. Like Zach was saying, like there was purchases made New York and like Florida or whatever, and like all these big heavy expenses, and just like um whatever they could kind of buy, just trying to drain my bank account stuff. Unlike Zach, though, I don't have any like credit cards or credit or anything like that. If I did, they probably would have tried to get into that or something, but they didn't do anything with like my identity, for what I know. They just were able to get into my bank account and just get money, and just start just taking things out and buying these things and purchases. And like I said, that once that started happening, the fraud alert was going off, and then like that's when I caught on to it. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of easy to figure out that like after a while, like these people were like the other guy on the phone, that I was on the phone with him, and then that's when I looked at my phone, I see the fraud going off. I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy is a scammer. This guy is in on it or something. And then um, whether or not that, I think it was the same guy or AI that was using my trying to be the bank and be Wells Fargo or whatever. But um, yeah, that situation did end up getting resolved. I think it took me about 17 days. It took a while to get my money back. I want to say it was like over 2 weeks or somewhere around there, 2.5 weeks. But um, yeah, it was a pretty big deal, and it was just kind of one of those situations where I think they said too that maybe next time you might not get so lucky and get your money back, get your stuff back. And um, it was just one of the, and I thought too it was funny too, because I know we were just out there in Seattle and stuff, and that was kind of that day that was kind of turned out to be a bit wild. There's that one guy that I know tried to like light us on fire with the lighter fluid and like poison our drinks, and with the lighter fluid and stuff, and kind of try and take us out. And I know he stole Zach's books and stuff. And then um yeah, that was just, it was weird because that day I got hacked. I was just out at Pike's Place pounding pavement. It was hours later that ended up happening. Um which kind of then led into 2024. um Too, I was out at Pike's Place too, and I was pounding pavement. And then I got back one night, and then the next night, or the next, well, that night, I got back and I went to sleep, and I went up the next morning, and I just, I was getting ready for the gym, and I didn't notice anything odd or anything. I just went out to my car, and then I closed the door, and then my whole back window just blew out and exploded. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then I rushed back in, and he's like, yeah, there was a shooting last night and stuff. I'm like, wow, how? And I missed the shooting. And then they want to say it was my neighbors were shooting at me, but I don't believe it was my neighbor, especially just, being just back out at Pike's Place, like my stuff get hacked and all this other stuff happening. And then, all this stuff, my car being shot up, and last one got stolen. This one, they shot out, like a 22 round through the back window, and it just missed. It went over the top seat, came out the front. And I didn't see it when I got in the car. I wasn't even looking for it. I didn't know there was a shooting or nothing. I just get in, the window explodes. But yeah, the night before, apparently they say it was my neighbors were shooting at me. And I mean, there was I guess there was 6 or 7 rounds that were shot off. There were shell casings in the yard. There was bullets. There was 911 calls made. The police were outside. They were all armed up, like out walking around, trying to see what they could see. There was like women or girls screaming on the phone. My car alarm was going off. Somehow I fucking slept through it all. I missed it. I don't know how, but um, yeah. And then I find this all out later, the next day and stuff, and that I was, someone was just shooting at me for some reason. Then, and then the cops had to come, and I had to explain that and go through all that. I mean, I missed a week's worth of work, so it cost me, 4 or 5 days worth of work, and then I still had to pay $100 deductible. And they were dragging their heels on it. It's like, oh, you just got to push a button, Austin, and it's going to go through. And it's like, okay, are they going to go through with it, or am I going to have to pay for now another car that got vandalized and destroyed by someone else? So these things tend to add up, and they do. The more of these happen to you, the more it does really demoralize and cripple you as a person, because you only can get so many mulligans with things like this. And um with your cars and your finances, and whether you're male or anything like that. And I know there was that one day too, last year I came home too, and I just got home in time. I mean, my burners on the oven, I still don't know how they were turned on, but I mean, I literally got home in the nick of time, because it was super hot in there, foggy. I don't know if someone had just came in and turned them on and tried to burn the place down or something. It was just kind of one of those days. And uh, I just got home, and then I just, I turned them off because it's hot and smoky in there. And I'm like, wow, I mean, if I didn't get home, I mean, I could have lost the house, could have lost all my stuff. And just, it's been a very difficult last few years with all this stuff. And these are just, some of the highlights and examples. I mean, there's been a lot more than just this, obviously. And even, past years, but just in the last few years, I mean, I had to deal with people stealing my cars and having to go through that process, people stealing my mail, personal information, tax stuff, people hacking my bank account, stealing thousands of dollars, possibly stealing my identity too, whatever else really happened in that situation. People, trying to kill you or take you out or set you on fire or poison you. And then you got to deal with people, shooting up your car, shooting at you, doing all these other things, that just, they add up. I mean, these things add up. And like I said, I know, Zach said, this isn't his first time. Like I said, I've been hacked before. That was my first time and only time with money. But yeah, the other time I know I was hacked, there was like deep fake videos of me and stuff. I don't know what was in them, because I never seen them, but they were getting like sent out and stuff, and people were getting them, and they were getting messages like someone was like trying to kill me or after me. I mean, I've had to go through all kind of stuff like this, and it just, yeah, it just gets tiring. It just gets old. I mean, and I know, like I said, Zach having dealt with, had to deal with this before. I just hope that, he's able to recover and get his stuff back. I know, Wells Fargo was kind of difficult with me too when the thing happened and stuff. And, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I mean, if this is, I don't know if this is, I think he said this happened maybe a couple times with money. So hopefully he does, get his money back and stuff. And they do find, whatever they need to, investigate or whatever to, return his stuff and see that it was obviously fraud. But yeah, it's just, and this is the kind of thing you're going to have to deal with, being in this kind of community, being someone that does this kind of stuff, out pounding pavement and, into truth and gematria, and just, someone that is, it just puts a massive target on your back. It just makes you a target. It's something you got to deal with constantly. And it's very hard. I mean, like I said, it's very difficult to overcome this stuff, because there's really not a lot you can do. I mean, it's really stuff that's just out of your hand that happens all the time. And, someone else has to just be a scumbag and just screw you over and mess up your life. Um, and it just becomes, like I said, it puts you in a hole, and there's only so much, there's only so much leeway insurance companies are going to give you, your bank's going to give you, and other people are going to give you when people are stealing your mail, stealing your car, shooting it up, and stealing money out of your account and hacking this and hacking that. I mean, you can only have this happen so many times, and that's why a lot of people end up, homeless or dead, or they suicide themselves. It's because of stuff like this. I mean, this is another huge depopulation way. Get people broke, homeless. Take out everything they got. People kill themselves, stuff like that. So it's just, yeah, it's a real serious problem, and it's become a massive issue. The hacking, the AI. I mean, it's just getting more sophisticated. It's getting worse. Um, I know there's some scams, like there's calls that you got to worry that it's, a phone call, and you pick it up and you say, hello, hello. And there's that right there. They get your voice. And once they got your voice, they can take your voice. They can pretend they're you. They can make deep fake videos. They can get into all your shit. I mean, just like that. I mean, anybody can fall for that. I mean, anybody can be pranked by that. So, um, yeah, it's really bad, and it's getting worse. And it's something that is definitely needing to be talked about and expressed and explored, because it's just it's going to become worse with AI. It's going to become something I know a lot of people have had to go through for different reasons, and and there's so many ways you can be. Like I said, there's so many different ways. It doesn't have to be hacking or being hacked. It can be anything, anywhere, anytime. Um, I know, like I said, my cases, my situations, it's generally typically not. They typically don't make the same move twice. They like to hit you with something new, something different, because they know that when you're onto them and you're learning, and they got to find new ways to get you something you haven't seen before. Um, and these people they're masters. They're clever. They know exactly. I mean, like I said, in every one of these situations, I never caught the person. In all these two, I have no idea who's behind it. I have no idea how they're pulling it off. They're always one step ahead of me. I can't find them. I can't see them. I got people shooting rounds at me in the middle of the night. I don't even know I'm being shot at. I don't know how they're pulling this stuff off, and um, how they're stealing my car. They're not getting caught, and then I got to pay with my mail and personal information getting stolen, and um, them sending these AI hackers after me, and then having to deal with you know other weird stuff. And then there's just it's just it can really affect you in a lot of negative ways too, because it's just you're always worried, looking over your back. It does make you more paranoid. I always have to, you don't want ever, because like I say, I'm like, I was always thinking like, well, what are they going to do this year? What's going to happen this year? I mean, lately, it's been kind of like my job stuff. I've been kind of wondering, it's like, okay, is that what it is? Is that what they're doing? Are they attacking there, or what's it going to be now? You do have to think that way. You do have to worry to a degree, but yeah, it's just, they always got something up their sleeve. They always got a new way to come at you. And that's just the thing. It's just, you got to spread awareness about it and make sure people are aware of these things. And um, like Zach said, you got to be extremely careful. I mean, just, you don't know what someone or something is going to do at any time. And you don't know where you're going to be. I mean, even that, like I said, when that guy was squirting the lighter fluid, I mean, I was the guy that I spotted that situation. I didn't even see him. I don't even know where he came from. I just looked over. I thought he had his dick out. I thought he was pissing on us. Like, what is that? Where's that coming from? And then that's when I seen him, like, oh, yeah, they're trying to light us on fire. They're trying to get us here. So it's like, yeah. And like I said, I don't even know how my burners got turned on my oven that night. I mean, that could have been, I could have lost everything. Could have lost my house, all my personal information, after everything else I just lost and to go through. Then would have had to go through that. I mean, yeah, there's only so much of that you can take in this life, where it's just like, I mean, you can only recover for so much. And it's just there's just way too much of this going on today. I mean, it's become a huge issue as time has gone on, and it's just getting worse. And um yeah, more people got to call this out and expose this. And then there's other people and YouTubers that go through this stuff too, and I hear their stories and how people are going after them when things are doing. And it's a lot, it's similar in a lot of ways, and other ways it's different. But yeah, targeting can happen anywhere, anytime, anyway, and there's just nothing you can do about it for the most part. I mean, some things, yeah, you can, certain things you can kind of get out of, but I mean, as far as ever catching these people and catching them in the act and seeing them and trying to spot them, I mean, it's impossible with the way they move. I mean, they're very clever, they're very smart, they're very sophisticated, and they typically tie things together. And there's always these weird correlations with things and relations, and it's very weird. But yeah, that's just some or a few of my experiences here the last few years at least.
I take from this as well. It's like I've had my car stolen. It wasn't any kind of like string of things, but I was telling you before we started that, in my opinion, the same spirit in the people that would scam and hack and things of that nature, throw them in with the murderers, in
Yeah.
jail with the murderers. When they get caught, it's like, what are they going to do for society? Like I would say they have just as much a chance to recover and be a member of society again as much as a murderer, because it's just it's just one of those things, and that might seem harsh, but in reality, I even said too, kind of jokingly because it's a joke, but at the same time, true, that I'd rather hang out with a murderer. I'd rather hang out with a murderer than a hacker, scammer person. Like, just can only imagine what kind of person that is. Anyway, but like I was saying, it really is a cautionary tale too, because our dependence on things. Your whole conversation there, or the whole time you're talking, got me thinking about like digital blue footprints and stuff like that. And there was a time early in the internet when people used to it like people would when early MySpace came out, it was a URL. Your web page was a URL. So if you had a random enough name, if you Googled your name, you were like the first thing to come up. You, you're that famous. You came up on and then it's just like everybody loved that. And it's just like, oh, that's a big oof. That was a big oof. They didn't even have to ask us to do it. We were just like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Here's my information. Here, you can Google me. Here's all my stuff. Um, to that point, Zach brings it up as well. He's exposed it heavily. He's been down to the Google campus as well. But I figure it's as good a time as ever with what I was saying there to, just reiterate. For those of you who might not know, the government sector for like, I guess you might as well say online, even though online's newer in this in a way. Um, the program they have for like uh it's a branch of the Department of Defense. Basically, it's like a research branch based on several different things, but in this particular aspect, they had a um, project called LifeLog, which was their attempt at logging all of Americans' data through multiple different means and indexes and things of that nature. Don't need to get long-winded. If you guys want to look this up, please do go look it up. It's easy enough to just, yeah, it's Wikipedia. Take it with a grain of salt, but you can look up on there, in the government website too. Take it with a grain of salt, maybe a bigger grain of salt. But I just wanted to bring something up about this that Zach touches on a lot. If you were to look up when they kind of went defunct, according to them, the LifeLog program was canceled on February 4th, 2004. What a day. What a day. Now, why was it? Who cares about that day? What a weird day. Who cares? Well, let's just, whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me Facebook was started on the same exact day? Oh, okay. Well, what is Facebook's main, what is Facebook trying to do? You're able to go on there and put all your information in an index format and So it's pretty clear that it just took on a different life. But just think about how many people vicariously live on through their social media, and these are the predecessors. I wanted to bring up one more thing too about how sick these government agencies are. Is Let's just put it this way: I was a relatively popular kid in high school. There were some ladies that felt a certain way about me, and MySpace, I don't care how you slice it. That website was made for kids to be their first entrance into social media. It was, yes, adults used it, okay, blah blah blah. It was made for kids. Trust me. You could have your little web player on there. You could make your little glittery page and put all the little widgets on there. It was made for kids, uh, particularly teenagers, really attached to it. But what I was saying with being popular with the ladies is I would every once in a while get a random DM. And what else was in there but, some pictures. Let me just put it that way, some pictures. Uh, for those of you who don't know, MySpace went through, and this isn't me complaining. Don't turn this around on me. Damn it, they took all my high school girl nudes out of my. No, regardless, they wiped all of the instant messaging from that website when they rebranded. Now they're like a music website, MySpace is. But either way, if that's not the biggest freaking load of bullcrap there ever was, I don't know what was. That, like, first of all, we were idiots. This is why, like, when this is, you don't all I tell my son all the time, it is not important. You can learn a lesson without ever having to go through the whatever issue that lesson pertains to. That's what where adults come in. That's where the parents come in. Is really, there's certain things that are markers of not coming of age. I don't want to. I'm not making it like that. I'm just saying, like, becoming older, just coming into your own, that you're gonna have to find out yourself. But there's other things you don't need to go to a party and get drunk as a kid. And you know what I mean? You don't need to do those things as a kid. Whereas, media and movies will have you believe you do. Needless to say, I'm hoping my son never has to, be pressured into that social media world, which, by the way, it was the very beginning. So it's not like we had anything to reference it. It's not like my mom was all like, oh, don't do that. This is bad, evil social media. Nobody even knew what social media was. My mom. Anyway, uh, point being is, yeah, with this, I look back on that and I'm just like, what an L I was to play into their evil system. And, think it was just so innocent. Like I said, people were happy when they would Google themselves and find them on the first page of Google. It was just an innocent time. YouTube was 99% people. People were making the YouTube videos. It wasn't people playing a game. It wasn't people talking about a movie. It was people uploading their doing something. Like, there was a time when there was a golden time where people thought that, it's really fucked up that behind the scenes there were people just nefariously just putting out their lure and knowing they had us hook, line, and sinker. And as far as you talk about, potentially falling for scams or Zach as well, like, these things are cautionary tales. And people need to get off social media. Uh, these are government programs that are stealing your data one way or another. It might not be you having to fall for a scam necessarily, or an AI bot or whatever. It might not be that. It from here, the next thing that happens is, maybe it'll be, I mean, hell, you might even be going through it already right now with your job security type of stuff. But yeah, for the average person, it might be a job security thing. You already hear about it, basically saying the things you've said in the past can come up. Well, what if it's something even worse than that. It's like not even something that's like controversial that you said or did. It's just they have like knowledge of stuff that no one else would should or could know, and they can use that against you. And who are you going to call? When they use things that only you know about, who are you going to tell? No one else would know about it. No one else would be able to empathize with you or understand what and so we're really headed towards this like dystopian, sad digital hellscape. And I can say for myself that having moved out to the property we're living on now, I'm harvesting fruit trees and eating off the land, and just being able to be out in our yard and our property and things of that nature. It's just like it adds perspective that I think people need to have. I was going to mention this earlier when we were talking about a hurricane potentially going through all of the US. We need to stop fucking living on the outskirts of the US. Everywhere needs to stop doing that. Every country. Stop living in cities. Tear this. We don't need to go and take our sledgehammers and tear it all down. We need to force them to restructure things. And I'm not saying with them still in power, but we need to restructure things. Things need to be restructured. And if we wait on them to restructure it, what the fuck can we expect when terrible things happen to us? These are terrible people at the helm. So I think, this does prove as just to double down on it too. Where's the Facebook campus? Oh, one hacker away. Yeah, that's so, ha 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 ha. So funny. Ha 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 ha. Good joke. But yeah, if you guys have any stories about things that have happened to you, leave us in the comments. Let us know how you dealt with it or what happened, and if you feel like sharing. As for this episode, we covered a couple of different topics. Anything you guys have to remark upon, leave it in the comment section below or the scrolling email down below, unscriptedtruthtv@gmail.com. Always happy to get you guys' emails and thoughts. And we've also thrown the line out there for anybody who wants to not only join us if you have a presentation, but also just feel free to leave us suggestions for videos in the future. And yeah, we're not prompt machines. Unfortunately, right now we're just separately been busy, so it's hard to kind of collaborate throughout the week on a solid idea for an episode. So if we had your suggestions that we could build upon, that would make things so much easier. And it's not to say it would make it that making it easier is what we need. It would make it easy, as well as it would make it easy make it easy for us to to research things. And we're not just it would be not just easy, it would be things that you guys want to talk about here and discuss. So make things more community based as well. So yeah, we'll catch up with you guys next week where we have a first race of the playoffs. So we'll see if I notice something, or if I get some good comments from you guys or something worth noting, on potentially make another community post about the NASCAR stuff, because I know we didn't get into it like 100%. Throughout a couple narratives, we'll see where it goes. But till next week, guys, take it easy. Later.
Peace.